Okay, typically I don't start off with injury news, but because it's unfortunately compiling, it seems sometimes some years you get lucky and you don't get anybody hurt, and some years you get it kind of comes in waves. But just a couple new, obviously, with Jaheim and Jaden out for the year. Well, then Ty wasn't able to go last week. He's still questionable for this week. Won't know anything about him till later in the week. And then Sincere Bowers, the other running back, came in, got a concussion. He's questionable for sure. Landon Livingston, got hurt in the game. You guys probably saw that. He's questionable for Saturday as well. Two offensive linemen, Chemo and Tykees Crawford, are questionable, maybe probable. We'll see what they do in the next couple of days as well. And then Nico Marchiol came to see us and said he had some midfoot pain and had been bothering for a while. And so he is today, I think we got a great medical staff, by the way. I trust them with 100%. And, as a coach, I stay out of the medical part of that, of course, and leave it to the experts. But Nico, I think they have a specialist out in Colorado that he knows that he's actually out there today getting that checked out because he says it's been bothering him for a couple weeks, and so he's going to be questionable as well. So I think, and then Jacob Barrick, we're hoping that's 11. We got 11 offensive guys on the injury report. We're hoping Jacob Barrick can come back this week, tight end. We'll see, and then same with Preston Fox. We'll see how he does the next couple of days. So he's questionable too. So, it's kind of a lot, and there's been a couple of really physical games, but it gives opportunities to other guys to come in. And then obviously got a very big physical experience Utah team coming in. Know their coaches and their program very well, and got a lot of respect for Kyle and what he's done over the years.
Start with sort of the injury situation and how you fix it. Start with running back. I mean, because you got a whole list of them. So
yeah, it's just Jaheim and then Ty and then Sincere.
Played yet? And so
yeah, and Cannon's been hurt. Now Dior is going to get more opportunities for Tyler Jackless got in a little bit. Dior is going to get a lot of reps this week. Clay Ash is going to get reps, and so it's. I know I said 1 year I don't know if I was telling you. 1 year I had went to my fifth quarterback. I had to put a guy that was a walk-on tight end as a starting quarterback against USC, and then we were at our sixth Mike linebacker. It's like everybody in the middle. The quarterbacks all went down, and then it's unbelievable. I had my sixth Mike linebacker was starting against them, and this is mid-season. So, gosh, it's I hope it doesn't happen. But again, it gives opportunities for some other guys. So we got to get the running back situation figured out this week.
So do you give some reps to some other slot receivers at running back?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yes and yes, all the above, right? You figure out ways to get it going, and those are hard to come up. But when you hurt, the biggest concerns is an O-line too. When you get your O-line beat up when you're inexperienced to start with, and then the inexperience gets hurt, then you got even more inexperience coming in. So, yeah, we'll figure something out.
With Utah, is it what you see is what you get with them pretty much?
Well, yes and no. I think offensively they've changed a little bit, obviously, with the new coordinator and the quarterback. They're a lot more spread, doing a lot of different quarterback run stuff, and really creative. And everybody, I know everybody, Dampier, everybody was looking at him. Because he was a dynamic player last year at New Mexico, and he's helped, I think, transform their offense this year as well. And defensively, with Morgan being there, they've been very similar over the years. They've changed some stuff from whatever it was 10 years ago when I was playing them when I was at Arizona, but they still very big, physical, get after you type. So we've got to have a good week of practice.
Nico, what do you do beginning today in practice?
Yeah, all the other guys, all other four quarterbacks are going to get reps and all week, and then we'll see. We'll figure it out from there.
During the game, the broadcast said that you've been repping 5 quarterbacks during the week. That may
Yes.
be true. How do you split up reps, and then what's ideal? Do you want to? Some guys go 80-20. Some will do like, I don't know, 80-15-5. How do you? And
Yeah,
maybe
not
it's
like
different
the
this week.
the fourth and fifth guys weren't getting as many reps, but they were getting some. Typically, you would only give 3 guys reps, but again, the way we practiced and we get so many plays in that they're still able to get that. Again, we don't know how long Nico is going to be out, but it's going to be for those other 4. It's going to be an opportunity for them, and they've done a good job in practice, staying engaged and getting their opportunities. And I think all knowing that they have a chance to play helps them stay engaged.
Based on Nico having this injury, what would you need to see from him, and what diagnosis would you need to get from him for him to still start this week?
Oh, I don't like. Like I said, I don't. Here we have a medical injury report from our trainer Mike every morning, and he and the doctors and the trainers, they tell me the status. I don't like. I never would get involved in like, are they good to go or they're not good to go. That's as simple as that. So, if the trainer says he's good to go, then he's good to go. If the trainer says he's not, and I don't.
He'd be behind rep-wise, though. Even if he gets a green light, wouldn't he be behind rep-wise?
Well, yeah. Well, so some of the other guys too, right? If they're missing during the week, and but they can play on Saturday. That's always a concern. Like, if you've missed a week of practice, but you're good to go health-wise for the game, are you ready to go mentally? That from that standpoint too. So.
That could still affect the starters, even if they get a green light health-wise, because they're behind.
Sure.
rep-wise.
Yeah. I mean, you got to. What we have different stuff in. We think they can. If it's and that goes back to, and that's a fair question, but it kind of goes back to if they're been in the offense or the defense for 2 or 3 years. Missing a few practices mentally is not a big deal because it. You know what I mean? This year with everybody being a rookie in the systems, excuse me, being a rookie in the system, I think missing a couple of days is probably different because they're like all freshmen in it.
We've seen Jalen and them in the games, and they've run well, but what do you think of their passing ability?
Yeah, all of our quarterbacks, I probably said this, all of them can make all the throws. It's a matter of throwing to the right guy at the right time and reading the defense. And there's a lot to quarterback play. It's more challenging now than ever before because defense has become more complicated, and you got to be prepared for a bunch of different looks, and you got to have protection. You got to have guys get open. It's all that above. So it's not as easy as just saying, we're not doing well running, let's just throw it. And you got to be able to protect. You got to be able to get open. You got to be able to read the coverages. You got to do all that stuff, and that's on us as coaches to get our guys ready to do that. That's part of what we've got to do a better job as a staff to get our guys, ready to do that.
Rich, review in your video, how much of Saturday was due to things you think you could fix, assignments, understanding things, whatever, versus maybe just a physical or a talent level?
Yeah, I think there's as coaches we're always optimistic that we can fix some of the stuff, and as a players I think the same way. It's not always what you call what you can execute, but then we also got to know, okay, this is, if we executed this perfectly, we still would have got beat on that play. Then all right, maybe the scheme is wrong, or maybe the matchup is not what you want it to be. So you better. I said this before. I mean, nobody's going to take losses harder than the staff is, but you have to learn from it. You got to learn from it as a player, and you got to learn from it as a staff. Like you learn from both wins and losses, but you're going to learn a lot more from losses because it stings so much more that you're going to try to fix it in a hurry. And some of the issues we know it's going to be, it's going to take a little longer or harder to fix. But some of them, frankly, we can fix from this past game, we've got to fix in a hurry. And we're only 4 games in. Like, I'm not going to panic. It's we're 4 games into our first year. But there's a lot that we've learned in the last 4 weeks that we know what we need to do to get better going forward.
Rich, has there been a time in your career where you've had this many injuries, and then what have you done to?
Well, just the one. It was 2016 Arizona was the only one that kind of compares to that. Like I said, when we lost, it all hit the same position, like quarterback and Mike linebacker, and I think we had a couple receivers out too, and a starting center, and so that. But in other years, it's been not all at one time, and this is. I wish, you say you look at the schedule, I'd rather have an open date like yesterday, or whenever it was. We need an open date, but we knew coming in it was going to be 6 games in, and there were going to be a couple physical games that we had to get through. And we're not like beating them up in practice. I didn't beat them up during camp. It's just bad luck, sometimes, and that's going to happen. So when you build your roster, and we know that. Like I said, this is not my first rodeo. You build your roster hoping that you don't have to have injuries and guys moving up on the depth chart, but it's going to happen. So, you better know it's going to happen.
How did Carson Lee do operationally when he was in there?
He's okay. I think, he's getting in there and competed a little bit. Snaps were pretty good, I think, for the most part. And Landon was actually playing pretty good football all year. So it's not long term with Landon, and he's a tough guy, so he'll fight to come back as soon as he can, whenever that's going to be. But like I said, those things are, we'll deal with and move on.
With the offensive line, it's not looked the best the past few weeks. Is there a certain point where you've been considering, and it might be a moot point with the injuries now, but like trying some younger guys into the mix just to see if something sparks in game action?
No, I don't. If we thought there was like a guy, another guy, 2 guys were close to playing, we would already been rotating them in and out. So like other positions, but there are. Like I said, there are going to be more opportunities this week for some guys in practice to kind of show us if they're ready to go in and play more reps. And that's why this is going to be a big week. Today's practice, tomorrow's practice is going to be helpful for us to see if, to your point, some of these other guys are going to be able to go in there and compete. Throwing them against Utah is probably not the best thing because they're going to be one of the best fronts we've faced all year, but it is what it is.
Now that you've had time to go watch the film, how do you feel about Jamori's performance as he slowly starts to progress?
Yeah, I think Jamori got, somewhere close to 30 plays. So he got about half the game in. I think he'll get better each week as he gets more reps in our defense during the week and comfortable out there. And he's pretty active. Braden Siders, who's playing the same positions, has been playing. He's a little banged up too, but he's been playing well all year. So, but it's good to have Jamori out there. I think he's making a difference.
How do you find more success offensively in third down, and do you attribute a lot of what's gone wrong to unfavorable down and distance situations there?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the third and longs are really hard, and for a lot of reasons. You got to get open, you got to protect, you got to throw it to the right guy, and all that stuff has got to happen at the same time. And then when you do have, like in the last game, or any game, if you have like a touchdown opportunity, in other words, it all matched up right, and then you got to be able to execute that too, and that's part of the deal. When you want a lot of those opportunities, but when you're struggling a little bit, like we are struggling a little bit at times, when those one opportunities come up there to take advantage of it or get a big play, you better hit those because those are not coming as frequently as they need to be.
So you mentioned all offseason that every quarterback was a willing runner, and Nico's had his games where he's run, but obviously the Kansas game was not one of them. What can you do with your offense offensively if you're not gaining yards on the ground with the quarterback? Is there anything else you can do? Is that just like throw your hands up in the air? I mean, he had negative 4 yards rushing. That seems like a Rich Rod offense isn't going to have a good day when that happens. Is there anything else
I think
to be
you're
done?
pigeonholing that a little bit there. I've had other guys when, that I don't know. I was trying to look back and see when we didn't have that much success running the quarterback. I mean, you throw it better, and run it. You got to be able to run it more with when you're playing with so-called 10 than playing with 11. I think that's part of the deal. But some of it is like when we're gonna get if a quarterback doesn't have a great day rushing, it's not always on the quarterback. It might be the way they're playing us, or getting beat up front, or something like that. That's concerned. But our quarterback involved in a run game has always got to be part of our offense. We think, when we're kind of rolling good, and like I said, I'm not panicking because again, it's 4 games. Like guys, let's trust me, ain't nobody gonna learn more from the loss than myself or my staff. But we also know that there's a lot of things that we can fix right now, and we got to do that as a staff. And some things are a little more long-term fix, and we got to fix that as a staff too. And all that is getting discussed and worked on.
Rich, with Nico's foot, I believe you said, I don't know how much you talked to him, but did that come up as a question? Hey, are you okay? Did he disclose it? Did you guys have any idea?
No, he came to see me on Sunday. Yeah, he came to see me and told me on Sunday. I wouldn't. He was, I think he had gone down to the training room a couple of times before, and talked to our guys about it. But that was the first I had known that it was bothering him. That was on Sunday.
Okay. And then how much different is what Utah is doing offensively than what Whittingham or his coordinators have been known for before?
Yeah, it's they brought the same coordinator that was Devin from New Mexico, Jason Eck, that coached him in that system. So they brought the quarterback and the coordinator over. So it's obviously a good fit. They've worked together, and it's a completely different thing than what they've done before.
Do you know Sean Clark at all?
Yeah. I think he released something earlier. Sean was, is a West Virginia guy. Great coach, great guy. I think he was the first person, and we always text because, it was after a win or something, like congrats, because it's, we always said the same thing, like it's hard to win, hard to win. And I think he was the first person after we won the Conference USA Championship last year. I think it might have been less than an hour after the game, Sean texted me and said, "Hey, Coach, it's hard to win. Congrats." So, just heart breaks for his family and for all his friends and the people down at UCF. Really sad. Really sad.
You mentioned you added an offensive lineman over the weekend. When it's week 4, how does the progression go to getting them ready? Obviously, probably not playing this year, but what is that development like?
For who?
For Ethan Schill. What is the development like for someone who you've added in week 4?
Yeah, I think the guys that added, the one offense and 2 offense run the same amount of plays, and so if you're in 2 deep, and even some of the 3s like quarterbacks, you're running all the same number of plays all week. Some of the younger ones, it's on a scout team. That takes them. If you're pulling a guy from a scout team that just got here to come over, it's going to take more than a week to get them ready. But we have a couple young offensive linemen that physically we think are able to do the job, that maybe have been in a backup role. They're going to be maybe thrust into an opportunity. And it's the same at quarterback, the same at wideout, and obviously the same at running back. Some of these guys are going to get thrown into an opportunity, and hopefully today, tomorrow, and maybe even Saturday, they can show what they can do. So that's I'm excited for them. They should be excited. I mean, I think when you get an opportunity to play, and especially in our environment, and this is going to be a great crowd, I think, and it should be exciting for them.
You mentioned long term. Is it getting guys ability-wise closer to your ones? Is that what you're talking about?
What's that?
In terms of getting guys, your backups closer ability-wise to your ones?
Oh, no question. I mean, when your program is fully developed, there's not much difference between your first and your seconds. And I know that's, part of it now is, the salaries and what you're getting paid and all that. But when we get it built way we're going to get built, there won't be much difference between the first group and the second group at any position on the 2 deep, on offense or defense in the future. Like, a year from now it'll be better, and 2 years from now it's going to be a lot better. And I'm not saying that because we lost our last game. Like I said, it's just 4 games into it. But, if we recruit the way we're supposed to recruit and develop the way we're supposed to develop, we're going to be a pretty deep football team in a couple years.
Your first time here at West Virginia, it took like 4 years to get a championship roster together, the team. Is it going to be the same this time?
Bob,
Easier or harder?
it shouldn't take as long, I think, because you can get, some portal guys that help. But I don't know if you can just build off of portal guys. I think we're still going to be a developmental program and build most of our roster up. So it shouldn't take that long. I would expect us to be as deep as we need to be and all that. You could do it in a couple years. I'm optimistic that you can do it in 1 year, so I'm not giving up on this year. But it's, if you do it, and this year you got to have, I don't want to say breaks, but you got to have fortune on your side. You got to have luck on your side a little bit, this year. Going forward, you don't have to rely on as much luck, if you know what I mean, in years 2 or 3 and certainly in year 4. So maybe we need to be a little bit luckier this year, and maybe we'll have some more luck on Saturday.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach.
Okay.